Cold air rolled across the shipyard, sharp and unforgiving, carrying the distant sound of waves crashing against metal hulls. Towering cargo containers cast long shadows under flickering lights, and somewhere in the darkness, engines hummed like a warning. Lulusha stood there, her small bag hanging from her shoulder, her eyes moving slowly from one corner of the dock to another. Something didn't feel right. "Natasha, where are the supervisors?" she asked, her voice cautious, almost hesitant. "You said this was a night shift job." Natasha didn't look at her. She kept her gaze forward, jaw tight, fingers clutched around something inside her jacket. "They're coming," she said quickly. "Just wait." Lulusha frowned slightly. The silence was too heavy. The men standing nearby weren't working. They were watching. Their posture, their stillness, it made her uneasy. Her instincts started screaming. "I don't like this," Lulusha said, taking a small step back. "Let's just go. We can come back tomorrow." Headlights suddenly cut through the darkness. A black SUV rolled in slowly, stopping just a few feet away from them. The engine shut off, and for a moment, everything went completely still. Then the doors opened. Men stepped out first. Well-dressed, sharp, their movements controlled and deliberate. No wasted motion. No unnecessary words. And then he stepped out, the Korean mafia boss. Calm, composed, dangerous. He didn't need to speak. The way everyone subtly shifted around him said everything. Lulusha's breath caught in her throat. "Natasha," she whispered, fear creeping into her voice. "Who are these people?" But Natasha was already moving. She stepped forward, away from Lulusha, straight toward them. "No, wait, Natasha?" Lulusha called, confusion turning into panic. Natasha whispered to one of the men, "That's the package." And the men handed Natasha with a briefcase of cash as grabbed Lulusha by the hand. He nodded. The deal was confirmed. Lulusha's world tilted. "What is that?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Slowly, Natasha turned around. And in that moment, everything changed. There was no warmth in her eyes anymore. No friendship. No comfort. Just distance. "I'm sorry," she said. Lulusha blinked, shaking her head like she hadn't heard correctly. Sorry for what? But deep down she already knew. Before she could move, a strong hand grabbed her arm. "Hey, what are you doing?" "Let me go," she shouted, trying to pull away, her bag slipping off her shoulder and hitting the ground. "No. Natasha. Tell them to stop." Natasha didn't move, didn't speak. Her fingers tightened around the money. "You said this was a job." Lulusha's voice broke as panic flooded through her. "You said I'd be working at the port." "I know." Natasha snapped suddenly, her voice shaking with something between guilt and frustration. "I know what I said." "Then what is this?" Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Natasha looked away. "I needed the money," she said quietly. Those words hit harder than anything else. Lulusha froze, her body going still as the truth sank in. "You sold me," she whispered. No one denied it. The mafia boss stepped forward then, his eyes settling on Lulusha. Calm. Observing. Almost curious. She looked back at him, fear in her chest but something else in her eyes. Something unbroken. That caught his attention. Most people begged at this point. Most people collapsed. She didn't. "Take her," he said. And just like that, it was done. They dragged her toward the ship. She fought now, harder, desperate, her voice rising into the night. "No. Wait. Natasha, please. Don't do this." Her feet scraped against the ground as she struggled, reaching back toward the only person she trusted. But Natasha just stood there, watching, silent. Their eyes locked one last time. And in that moment, Natasha saw it. Not just pain, not just betrayal, but a promise. Then Lulusha was gone, swallowed by the massive ship as the metal doors closed behind her with a deafening finality. The engines roared to life. The ship began to move. And just like that, she was taken. Away from everything she knew. Away from the life she fought so hard to survive. Inside the ship, the air was cold and heavy. Lulusha sat in a corner, her back against the wall, her arms wrapped around herself. The reality of what had just happened pressed down on her chest, making it hard to breathe. She had been betrayed. Sold. Her mind replayed Natasha's face over and over again, trying to understand how someone she trusted could do something like that. But there were no answers. Only silence. Hours passed. Then a day. Then another. The ship moved endlessly across the ocean, carrying people who had lost everything. But Lulusha she refused to break. She watched, listened, learned, and that's when she noticed him again. The man from the dock. The one everyone feared. He walked through the ship like he owned the air itself. No one questioned him. No one spoke unless spoken to. He stopped when he reached her. For a moment, neither of them said anything. "You're different," he finally said. Her voice was quiet but steady. "Different how?" "You're not begging." She held his gaze. "Begging won't change anything." That answer lingered. He left without another word. But he came back. Again. And again. What started as brief moments turned into conversations. He asked about her life. And she told him. Not to gain sympathy. Not to manipulate. But because she had nothing left to hide. She told him about Chicago. About cleaning houses. About going to sleep hungry. About trusting the wrong person. And for reasons he didn't understand, he listened. Truly listened. By the second day, something had shifted. By the third day, it was undeniable. He didn't see her as cargo anymore. He saw her as someone real. Someone strong. Someone he couldn't just hand over like the others. That realization came with a cost. Because men like him didn't change plans. Didn't break deals. Didn't risk everything for someone they just met. But as the ship approached Asia, he made a decision. He was going to save her. He found her before arrival. "We don't have much time," he said quietly. She looked at him, searching his face. "What are you saying?" "I'm not letting them take you." For a moment, she just stared at him. "You'd risk everything for me?" He didn't answer directly. "Stay close to me when we dock," he said. "Don't hesitate. Don't look back." When the ship finally arrived, everything moved fast. Crew members prepared for the exchange. Other traffickers waited. Money was about to change hands again. But just before it could happen, everything shifted. A distraction. A sudden break in formation. Confusion. And in that small window, they moved. Fast. Precise. Invisible. Within minutes, they were off the ship. Gone before anyone could react. Tokyo swallowed them whole. At first, life wasn't easy. They had to stay hidden, careful, always watching their backs. But Lulusha adapted quickly. The same strength that helped her survive her past now pushed her forward into something new. They started small. A simple business. Then another. And another. With time, effort, and strategy, they built something powerful. Far away, back in Chicago, Natasha was still struggling. Still doing the same work. Still chasing survival. Until one day, she heard a name. Lulusha. But not as a victim. As a success. A powerful woman in Tokyo. Untouchable. And in that moment, Natasha realized something that sent a chill down her spine. The person she betrayed didn't disappear. She rose. And some people you betray don't stay gone forever. The years had changed Lulusha in ways no one could have imagined. Tokyo moved fast, but she moved faster. Her name carried weight now. Respect. Power. The same woman who once had nothing now owned multiple businesses across the city. Cafes, fashion stores, logistics companies. People worked for her. People depended on her. And beside her was the man who had once stood on that cold ship deck. The man who chose her over everything he had built. Together, they created not just wealth but stability. A home. Children. A life that was once impossible. One evening, as the city lights reflected off the glass walls of her office, her assistant walked in hesitantly. "There's someone here to see you," she said. Lulusha didn't look up immediately. "Did they book an appointment?" The assistant shook her head slowly. "No, but she says she knows you. She said her name is Natasha." Silence filled the room. Lulusha's hand froze midair. For a moment, the past rushed back. The dock, the cold night, the betrayal, the sound of the ship doors closing. She exhaled slowly. "Let her in." The door opened. And there she was. Natasha. But she wasn't the same. Her clothes were worn out. Her face looked tired, aged beyond her years. The confidence she once carried was gone, replaced by desperation. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. They just looked at each other. Two people connected by a past that could never be erased. Natasha was the first to break. Her voice came out weak. "Lulu." Lulusha's expression didn't change. "Don't call me that." That hit harder than a slap. Natasha swallowed, stepping forward slowly. I heard about you. I didn't believe it at first. But then I saw everything. What you built." Lulusha leaned back slightly in her chair, her eyes steady. "And now you're here." Natasha nodded, her hands trembling slightly. I have nothing, Lulusha. Nothing. I've been struggling all these years. I thought you were gone. You made sure of that, Lulusha replied calmly. The truth hung heavy in the air. Natasha's eyes filled with tears. I know what I did. I think about it every day. I was desperate. I made the worst mistake of my life. Lulusha said nothing. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Natasha continued quickly. I don't deserve it. I just need help. Please, just give me a chance. Any job, anything. I'll do whatever it takes. Silence. Long. Uncomfortable. Real. Lulusha studied her carefully. Not just the words, but the state she was in. Broken. Desperate. At the bottom. Exactly where Lulusha once was. Finally, Lulusha spoke. I should turn you away. Natasha lowered her head. I know. I should let you feel exactly what I felt. A tear rolled down Natasha's cheek. But I won't. Natasha looked up, shocked. Lulusha stood up slowly, walking toward her. Not because you deserve it, she said firmly, but because I refuse to be the person you were to me. Those words carried weight. I'll give you a job, Lulusha continued. One of my shops. You'll start as a manager. But understand this clearly. She stepped closer, her voice cold now. You betray me again, even once, and you will lose everything. For good. Natasha nodded quickly, almost collapsing with relief. Thank you, Lulusha. I won't let you down. I swear. But some people don't change. 5 months later, the shop was doing well. Too well. Natasha had proven herself on the surface. Sales were up. Operations were smooth. Staff respected her. But behind the scenes, something was off. Small inconsistencies. Missing funds. Unusual decisions. Lulusha noticed. Her husband noticed too. They didn't confront her immediately. They watched. Carefully. Quietly. And what they found confirmed everything. Natasha wasn't just managing the shop. She was planning to take it. Documents being altered. Ownership discussions happening behind closed doors. Quiet attempts to push Lulusha's authority out of the business. The same pattern. The same betrayal. Just dressed differently. This time, they acted fast. One morning, Natasha arrived at the shop like any other day. Confident. In control. But something felt different. The staff were quiet. Watching her. Then she saw them. Lulusha. And her husband. Standing inside. Waiting. Her heart dropped instantly. Lulusha, you're here early, Natasha said, forcing a smile. Lulusha didn't smile back. It's over, Natasha. Just like that. No drama. No shouting. Just truth. Natasha froze. What do you mean? We know everything, Lulusha said, her voice calm but final. The money. The documents. The plans. Natasha's face went pale. I can explain. No. Lulusha cut her off sharply. You've explained enough 5 years ago. Silence. Heavy. Final. I gave you a second chance, Lulusha continued. Not because you earned it, but because I chose to rise above what you did to me. Her eyes hardened. And you proved that you're still the same person. Natasha's voice broke. Please don't do this. I have nothing. And that's exactly where you're going back to. Those words landed like a sentence. You're fired, Lulusha said. Effective immediately. No arguments. No negotiation. Security stepped forward. And just like that, Natasha lost everything. Again, months turned into years. Tokyo moved on. Lulusha's empire continued to grow. Her family grew stronger. Her life, more secure than ever. And somewhere in the streets of that same city, a woman walked alone. Dirty clothes. Empty eyes. Hands stretched out to strangers. Begging. Natasha, the same person who once traded a life for money, now survived on the mercy of others. And every now and then, when she saw luxury cars pass by, or successful women walking confidently through the streets, she would remember the night she made a choice, the moment she sold her friend, and how that one decision cost her everything. Because some betrayals don't just come back. They follow you for the rest of your life. And that was Natasha's payback.